So you think you're safe online, right? You've got your ad blocker, maybe even a VPN. But what if I told you the biggest vulnerability is the browser you're using right now? Yep. Today, we're going to dive into a concept that completely flips the script on web privacy. It's called isolated browsing. Come on, you know the drill. You need to search for something maybe a little sensitive, so you pop open an incognito or private window. You feel like a ghost, right? Totally anonymous? Well, I hate to burst your bubble, but that feeling of privacy, it's pretty much an illusion. What you're doing in that private window is way, way more connected to your real identity than you think.
So, how are they doing this? I mean, cookies get cleared, right? Yeah, but the real boogeyman here is something way sneakier. It's called your browser fingerprint. Think of it like a digital, fingerprint. It's a super unique profile built from all your computer's little quirks. The fonts you have, your screen size, your plugins. And here's the kicker. Even when you go incognito, that fingerprint is almost always the exact same as your normal browser. It's the invisible thread that connects everything you do, tying all those private sessions right back to you.
And that, right there, is the fundamental problem. In a normal browser, everything you do is just mixed together. Your work stuff, your online shopping, your social media, it's all happening in one big open room. The only real solution? We've got to build some walls. We need to create what I like to call a bubble of isolation.
Okay, so this is the core idea behind isolated browsing. Just picture it. Every single thing you do online gets its own sealed-off bubble. Your banking? One bubble. Your social media? A totally separate bubble. Nothing, and I mean nothing, no cookies, no data, no little identity markers, can leak out from one bubble and into another. That means what you research for your job has absolutely zero chance of influencing the ads you see when you're shopping later. It's true digital separation.
And that really gets to the heart of why this matters so much. Look, this isn't just about dodging a few annoying ads. This is about taking back control. It's about reclaiming your digital autonomy. It's about saying no to some massive single profile being built about every move you make. And instead, you get to decide who knows what about you.
All right, so how do we actually do this? The good news is, it's not some all-or-nothing switch you have to flip. The best way to think about it is like climbing a ladder. Each rung you climb gets you a higher level of privacy. So let's start at the very bottom and work our way up. So here we are, level 1, the very first rung, good old incognito mode. Let's be honest, it's really only good for one thing, making sure cookies and history get wiped from your computer when you close the window. That's it. Now look at what it doesn't do. Your IP address is still wide open. It does nothing to stop fingerprinting. And your internet provider? Oh yeah, they can still see every single site you visit. It is a very, very basic level of isolation. Okay, let's climb up to level 2, using separate browser profiles. Now, this is a genuinely good step up. You can set up a work profile and a personal one, and each will have its own separate cookies, its own history. It's much cleaner. But, and this is a big but, there's a huge weakness. They're still using the same IP address, and crucially, they still have the exact same browser fingerprint. For any half-decent tracker out there, connecting those dots is child's play. All right, level 3, now we're getting serious. We're talking about dedicated privacy browsers, like Tor. The whole game changes here. Its biggest weapon is how it deals with fingerprinting. Instead of you having this unique fingerprint that stands out, it tries to give everyone the same generic, standardized fingerprint. The idea is to make you just blend into a huge crowd of other users. But there's always a trade-off, right? It can be painfully slow, and a lot of websites will just flat out block you. So it's incredibly powerful, for sure, but maybe not practical for everything you do online. Okay, level 4. This is where things start to feel a little bit like sci-fi. We're talking about cloud browser isolation. The principle here is so simple but so powerful. The browser isn't even running on your computer anymore. It's running on a server somewhere in the cloud. What does that mean for you? It means that every single time you start a new session or open a profile, you get a totally fresh, completely unique fingerprint and a brand new IP address. And all the browsing data, it stays on their servers, not on your device. This is what real, robust isolation looks like. And now we've reached the top of the ladder. Level 5, virtual machines, or VMs. This is the Fort Knox. This is the absolute peak of isolation. You are literally running an entirely separate computer inside your own computer. We're talking hardware-level separation. You can even make it look like you're running a totally different operating system, but all that power comes at a cost. It's an absolute monster on your system's resources. It'll slow most computers to a crawl, which makes it totally impractical for, just checking your email. It's really for the super high-level, sensitive stuff. So we've climbed this whole privacy ladder, right? From the simple stuff to the really advanced tech. But that's all theory. What does this actually look like in the real world? How can you actually use isolation in your day-to-day life to be safer online? Okay, let's get practical. Just think about your own browsing habits. The most obvious one, building that solid wall between your work life and your personal life. Have you ever searched for, a new pair of shoes at work on your lunch break, and then suddenly you're seeing ads for those exact shoes on your phone at home? That's the link we're talking about. Isolation completely breaks it. It's also awesome for things like online shopping, to stop websites from jacking up the prices because they know you've looked before. And if you manage multiple social media accounts, it's an absolute must-have for security. So do you want to try this, right now? There's a super easy way to get started. If you're a Firefox user, just go to their add-ons and search for multi-account containers. It's free. You can instantly create these little boxes, one for work, one for shopping, one for social media, whatever you want. Each container keeps all its cookies completely separate from the others. It is a fantastic and totally free way to feel the power of isolation for yourself. Okay, let's pull all of this together and look at the big picture. As you've seen, not all tools are created equal. You've got incognito mode and Firefox containers, which are great for separating out cookies. But remember, your fingerprint and your IP address are still hanging out there in the open. To really lock those down, you have to level up to something like the Tor browser or a cloud browser. It's all about picking the right tool for the right job, whether you just need a little organization or you're aiming for true anonymity.
All right, before we finish up, there's one really important thing we need to be crystal clear on. We need to talk about what isolated browsing is, and maybe more importantly, what it isn't. It is an absolutely essential, foundational tool for privacy, but it's not a magic wand. It doesn't just solve every single privacy problem out there.
So here's the bottom line. What isolation is amazing at is stopping all that cross-session tracking. It slams the door shut on advertisers trying to connect your work you with your personal you. It stops your Google or Facebook login from following you around the rest of the internet. It fundamentally breaks the links that trackers use to build that giant, creepy profile of you. But, and this is key, isolation by itself doesn't make you invisible. If you're not also using something like a VPN or a proxy, your IP address is still out there for everyone to see. Your internet provider can still log every website you go to, and, it obviously can't stop you from just typing your personal information into a form. Real privacy isn't about one tool, it's about layering these different tools together. At the end of the day, our online life is this massive, interconnected web. What isolated browsing does is give you the power to decide where the walls go up. It gives you the tool to compartmentalize your life, to protect yourself, and to take back your digital freedom. So really, the only question left to ask is, how many bubbles are you going to build?